doing a labour and delivery story for you guys. It's been something that I wanted to talk about with everybody for a little while. As you can see, this one's with me today. She literally doesn't want me to put her down today, so I'm gonna keep her with me. If she wakes up, bear with me guys, I'll probably be back and forth. But yeah, let's get right into it. So I went into labour on a Monday and I actually started feeling contractions on the Friday night, so before the Monday, about 7 p.m, and they were definitely contractions because they were a lot more painful than Braxton Hicks. And obviously, like Braxton Hicks, they go away with a bit of movement and they don't last as long and they don't peak, whereas these peaked and they were definitely painful. So I was having them every hour through the night. I literally got no sleep at night, and where she was overdue, it was like coming up to 42 weeks. I was actually 42 weeks on the day I delivered. I literally couldn't even sleep laying down. I had to sit up because where her position was on my right side with her feet literally on my ribs, and her head was down, but I later found out that it was slanted. But yeah, so she did not want to let me sleep, so I had to sleep sitting up. So it was already uncomfortable, and then when the contraction started, that was it. No sleep was happening. By the Saturday morning, I started having contractions about 30 minutes apart from each other. But they were bearable. Like, I could talk through them, and you know, I could get on with my day. That day was actually so hectic. Like, we were moving into our new home that day, so it was all going on at once. And so yeah, carried on with our day. I had my second scrape or swipe or what scrape, is that what it's called? I can't remember. But what they do to stimulate your labour, like naturally, without putting anything, like, without any added hormones or, you know, chemicals or medicines. I had that booked at the birthing centre, I believe. Yes, at the birthing centre. I had two, so I'm trying to think whether it was at the birthing centre or hospital first. It was at the birthing centre second. So it was at the birthing centre on Saturday. And we went there about 4 o'clock, and I'd already started having, like, you know, the contraction pains, but I wasn't in active labour, so they said that they still wanted me to have it because obviously they didn't want me to have the induction, which was actually booked for the Monday that I delivered on. So I went ahead and I had the I just remembered something. God. So you know when people say, this is going off track a little bit, when people say, oh my god, like my labour was a bit of a blur, that was actually my labour. Like, it was a complete blur because it lasted for so long, and I was in so much pain, and oh god, it was just so traumatic. So yeah, so thinking back to it now, like, there's pieces coming back to me, if that makes any sense. Like, I remember certain parts of it, like I have flashbacks, but some of it, like, when people that were there tell me, I'm like, oh my god, yeah, that happened, didn't it? Oh my god, yeah, that happened. Or did that really happen? Like, I can't remember. But yeah, going back to what I was saying. So yeah, I was booked in actually for Sunday induction, which was an outpatient induction at a hospital, and in a hospital in London, and I eventually didn't need it. I'm planned to give birth at a birthing centre, and so what they did is they said, if you have the outpatient induction at the hospital and you go into labour naturally, they'll send you home. Come into the birthing centre and give birth. If it doesn't happen within the 24 hours, then obviously you have to go back to the hospital and have a full-on induction and give birth there. So anyway, the Saturday came and we went in for the swipe or scrape, I can't remember what it's called, and I think it seemed to work because literally straight away, well, this was the second one, so it had to work, really. I did not want to be induced. So we went home after the second one, and I was thinking, okay, you know, pray this work. The second one didn't work. I mean, the first one didn't work, so, you know, I really was praying, and I was so uncomfortable at this point. Like, I just wanted her to be here. So we went back to our new house, started unpacking, and literally within about an hour of getting back, I went up to my new room and I sat on the bed and I was like, right, this is it. I can feel it. It's happening. Like, I sat there for about half an hour and they were happening literally every 4 minutes, and they were lasting for like a minute or so, minute and a half to 2 minutes, and they were painful. God, were they painful. So that was it. I literally got everyone to, like, there were so many people in my house because they were all helping me unpack and helping my partner unpack, that I literally screamed for my partner who was downstairs. I think he was like putting the TV up or something, and I was like, can you please come, like, we need to go, like, this is it, like, we have to go, get the car ready, like, let's go. And then I obviously told my mum as well, who was also my birthing partner. So it was my mum and my partner who were both birthing partners for me. So I headed down to the hospital with my partner, and my mum came down in her car following us. And it was about the reason why I left after only waiting for half an hour of them being so short, because obviously they say you wait for them to be that consistent for an hour before you come in. But I had a 40-minute drive and I was like, nope, I need to leave now, because I'm not going to be like this where I am now in another half an hour and then in the car. I wouldn't be able to cope. So anyway, we went to the birthing centre. We got there, and when we got there, we found out that I wasn't really dilated much at all, probably like 1.5 centimetres, but my contractions were strong and they were every minute and a half, and in a minute and a half to 2 minutes at this point. And I was just really lucky because the birthing centre was completely empty. I was the only one there, so they were like, do you know what, stay, you can stay, you're the only person here, we'll monitor you overnight and see how it goes. You're obviously in active labour, it will probably progress pretty quickly for you. So that's what I did. So my plan was to have a water birth without any sort of other pain relief other than gas and air. And I really, like, I was adamant that's what I wanted. So that's why I was at the birthing centre. I had been low risk throughout my pregnancy, so everything was fine. Like, because obviously the birthing centres don't take you on here unless you are completely low risk and everything. And they do a lot, like, they do so many thorough checks before letting you even consider it. They don't even take you on until you're 36 weeks. 36 weeks plus. So yeah. So I was so excited. Obviously I was really anxious. I was scared, so scared because of the pain. Like, I didn't realise what the pain would feel like, and it was literally, it felt like, it really does peak, it really does feel like a mountain and then like a drop, but mine were going up but only coming halfway down and then going back up again. So I wasn't actually getting a rest period, and this was from the time I got to the birthing centre. By the time I got there it was about 7 or 8 in the evening, and they went from 4 to every 2 minutes pretty quickly, and then I tried with gas and air for ages. I got into the water and I thought, okay, right, this is it, like, I can feel it, I'm probably going to dilate quickly now because these were coming and they were painful. So I was in the water for probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Decided to get out because the midwife had noticed that the baby's heart rate was increasing. Okay, her heart rate was increasing. So she was like, right, okay, I'm going to keep monitoring it, but if this continues, then we're going to have to take you to the hospital. So I was like, okay, right, let me try to get out of the water, lie down on the bed for a bit and rest. Maybe it's the water, maybe it's, you know, maybe because I'm uncomfortable. So at this point it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I am literally going for this gas and air. My contractions are still every 2 minutes, and God, and I haven't progressed much. I'm probably about 2 centimeters dilated, so I've only dilated like half a centimeter in all that time. Oh, you okay, Baba? You waking up? Hey? You waking up? That's okay. Let's put you over my shoulder. There we go. So yeah, I'm only dilated about 2 centimeters. Like the midwife was just like, oh my god, you're not dilating, but her heart rate had gone down, so that was a relief. Like it wasn't as high, she wasn't distressed, so they were like, okay, you can stay, you don't have to go to the hospital. Bless my mum and MJ, they literally were taking shifts in sleeping, because like I didn't get any sleep at all. I was in pain constantly, so, and it was a long long night, so they were both taking shifts, and we knew it was going to be even longer yet, considering I was only 2 centimeters. So yeah, after that I literally gave up, and I was like, right, I need to get back in the water. I think something's gonna happen. So as soon as it got to daylight, it was like 5 in the morning, I got back into the water. And you know what, the water did help with the pain. It didn't completely get rid of it obviously, but it kind of numbed it a little bit, and I was able to like relax a little bit. And they weren't like going all the way down, like my contractions, they weren't going all the way to like rest period. They were still going like halfway down peak, but it just felt a lot better in the water. So I was in the water then now for about another good 3 hours or so, and I was just contracting, gas and air. At this point, like, everybody was awake. My mum, MJ's mum, MJ, we were all there, and they were all helping me concentrate on breathing, because I was pretty distressed at this point. It'd been such a long night and I hadn't progressed much. So again, that went on for a little while, and fast forward to about 10 o'clock in the morning, I managed to get out of the pool, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to start going on my knees and just like pushing through the pain. Not pushing as in pushing the baby up, but just like pushing with my breathing through the pain. And I was like leaning on MJ, etc. And then my waters broke, and it was like literally like a rubber band had just pinged and my waters broke, and I was just like, oh my god, this is it, right, okay, my waters broke now, everything's gonna go quickly, thank god, my waters have broken. It felt like a heaviness, like a heavy sort of gush, and then I was just like, MJ, call the midwife, like my waters are broken, all this is broken, like this is it now. So my waters broke. She came and checked. Obviously they had to check if the colour of the water, because obviously, as you know, if the water is clear, it's fine. If it's not clear, that means the baby has food, mice in the womb, and then you need to obviously be transferred, if you're in a birthing centre, to a hospital to make sure that there's no infection in the baby, because obviously it's not nice if they food and they can like eat the water or whatever. So everything was fine, clear water. So I carried on. She measured my dilation, and she said to me that I was about 4 centimeters. So still a long way to go, but because my waters had broken, I was in so much pain. I had been, someone's awake. I had been I had been having contractions for so long that they had then said, you know what, we're gonna transfer you to the hospital. It's been a long night, it's been over 12 hours, nothing has happened, you're still not dilating very quickly, your waters are broken, and you're in a lot of pain, and we need you to be transferred. And also, like, my heart rate and baby's heart rate were again going up. So that was it. My anxiety like peaked because I was just like, no, I don't want to go to hospital. I didn't want to go to hospital. Like my birthing plan had completely been thrown out of the window at this point. I was so high on gas and air. Apparently I was basically delusional. Like I remember my partner saying, you know, you were talking to like people saying things like, oh MJ, I've seen you like 5 times already and I'm standing next to you. My mum was like, bless MJ, he was just literally looking at you with this straight to his face. So I must have looked like a crazy woman. So anyway, the paramedics came, they transferred me to the local hospital, which I was so lucky. It was an amazing hospital. And I think she just farted. Thank you. Whew. Yeah, so I got transferred to the hospital and with my gas and air in my hand, panicking like anything. I was like to MJ, please don't leave my side. Like I was in tears. I was like, please don't leave me, like don't leave me. Mum, come, like everybody come, like no one leave me. I was so scared. So I got to the hospital and after about 20 minutes or so of me screaming in pain, because by this point I was screaming in pain, like bear in mind I'd been awake for 2 days basically, having contractions and then just getting worse and not settling. I was so tired, I was exhausted. I couldn't even think about eventually pushing a baby out. Like I had no energy. I wasn't allowed to eat because obviously I'm going to push a baby out soon. They're like no eating. So I was nil to mouth for the whole period, might I just add. Like I couldn't eat anything. I was literally on ice. So 20 minutes in, the anaesthetic people came in and I got an epidural. Completely, like I said, off my birthing plan. Like I did not want the epidural. I was so adamant that I didn't want it because I was so scared of it. Like I was so nervous of an epidural. I heard about all like the side effects and the long-term effects and things like that. Like I'd watched people's birth videos and seen how they reacted to it and things like that, and I just didn't want it. I didn't want to feel like I wasn't in control of my own body. But when I got there to that hospital, I was pleading for it. I was like, please give it to me. Give me the epidural. I need it now. I'm in so much pain. I've been in so much pain. I need the epidural. And everyone was so surprised and shocked, but I could not manage without. I was literally delusional, like I said, in pain. I was in and out. I felt like I was passing out. I was so exhausted, and I hadn't been able to rest at all, and I was going to push out a baby eventually and then have no sleep from a baby. So I was like, I need to get some energy back. So they came in and they gave me the epidural, and I have to literally honestly say it was the best decision I made, because if I didn't get that epidural, I wouldn't have been able to push this baby out. I would have had to have a C-section or something. I don't know, but I would not have been able to do it. So yeah, I had the epidural. Once they gave me the epidural, they kept topping it up every half an hour to an hour. And I literally was numb from the waist down, and it's so weird because you can't even push yourself up, like to scoot up the bed or anything. I had to have help with everything. It's a bit TMI, but like, you know, you have a catheter in and everything. Like it's really unpleasant, but so necessary. As soon as I had it, I was able to rest. I got some sleep. You know, I was able to just chill. I got some colour back in my face. I might even put a picture in somewhere, maybe at the end of the video, of like the last picture of me with bum in the hospital after I've had the epidural. You can tell like the relief on my face. I might put that in, I might not. But yeah, so after the epidural happened, they also suggested that because what actually would happen, I don't know if you remember, I said I was about 4 or 5 centimetres when I left the birthing centre. Well, actually, when the doctors came around, the specialist doctors, they came around and they said to me, Do you know what? You're still about 3 centimetres left. 3 centimetres. I had gone through all of that and I'd only got to about 3 centimetres, 3.5 centimetres. So all this 4 centimetres, 5 centimetres, I don't know what happened there, but it wasn't true. So because obviously normally you don't go into hospital at that far in, you go in when you're like 4 to 5 centimetres minimum. And because I was already still 3 and I was literally rushed in by ambulance, they gave me, and I had the epidural already, they gave me this drip. I'll try and find out the name of the drip, I can't think of it right now, and if I remember I'll put it in somewhere. But they gave me this drip. It's not an induction, it just helps speed up the process of your dilation. So I dilated within a couple of hours. I was from 3 centimetres to 10 centimetres, quite literally, without feeling anything. And do you know what the miracle of an epidural is? You're having these same contractions that I had been having, that every 2 minutes, like that were peaking so high, and I couldn't feel a thing, nothing. Could not feel a thing. I was having them. People were telling me, "Yep, that was a really bad one that you just had," and I was just like, I feel fine. Can't feel anything. Not fine. Can't feel anything. And it was just amazing just to get that time of rest, because although I dilated to 10 centimetres, I tried to then push baby out by myself, and nothing was happening. She wasn't moving. She wasn't coming down. She was still quite far back, so they decided like they just wanted me to wait a little while longer, see if she would naturally move down by herself, and then continue pushing. So it was just a waiting game really. So about 12 o'clock I then was reduced the epidural. So obviously till then I was being topped up every half an hour to an hour, and then by about 12 o'clock they stopped topping me up. Ooh. Okay. Just okay. Yeah, so 12 o'clock they started reducing it so that I could feel something, and I'm pushing because obviously I needed to feel the sensation of pushing at least a little bit, otherwise I won't know what's going on, and I don't know what I'd do to myself. I'd probably damage myself. Which I did anyway. But yeah, so about 1 o'clock I started pushing by myself. Still, she wasn't coming out. She was not moving. And it was really hard to know, like obviously someone was telling me when my contractions were happening, when to push, how to push, everything, and I was still exhausted. Although I managed to rest a little bit, I was still so exhausted. But yeah, so I then carried on trying to push, and then they were just like, do you know what, stop, wait for the doctors. Doctors came and they had a feel. They had a feel around. They said, yeah, she's a bit far back, so it's going to be a bit of work. They got me to push naturally, like when I felt the need to push, when the contractions came. And, you know, that didn't work. So then they tried forceps. And God did this woman dig and dig and dig with this one forceps. And all I remember her saying, oh, what are you doing, child? All I remember her saying was, she's got a big head. She's got a big head. And I just looked at her, I remember looking at my mum, and then the woman saying, like trying to change her tone to not like a big head, like, oh, like, I can feel that she's coming, like it's gonna happen soon, like don't worry. Because she knew that I was, like she knew I was panicking at this point, like, what do you mean she's got a big head? Am I gonna rip? Like, this is gonna be painful, like, you know. Anyway, so she's trying to dig in these forceps. She gets one in, the other one doesn't work. The other one doesn't get in. So she takes them out. When she takes them out, she rips me. Beautiful. She rips me. Bear in mind, I can't feel this, so I don't actually know she rips me. But I can see blood. So, and so can everybody else. And I'm starting to feel a bit funny. So anyway, that doesn't work. So they said to me, right, we're going to have to cut you. And then we're going to use a suction to help pull her out. So they do so. They cut me in, I think 3 places or 2 places, and I ripped another. So they cut me in 2 places, and then they used this suction machine to attach to the back of her head and then help pull her out. So as they do that, what are you doing? Are you trying to eat me? Okay, you're getting agitated. 1 second, guys. Sorry guys, I had to go and feed her. She got a bit agitated and she was hungry. So, where was I? Yeah, so after the failed forceps, they had to, like I said, cut me in 2 different places, and then use a suction machine, which literally attaches to the back of her head, and then they pull her out with it whilst I'm pushing. So once they tried that, that thankfully worked, because obviously the next step was a C-section, and I really didn't want that to happen. So as they pulled her out, I ripped as well, and I didn't actually realise I was bleeding so much, but I knew she was coming, like I knew she was about to come out, because my back popped. And once that happened, she was literally out within seconds, and I was so overwhelmed and so like exhausted and like just relieved that she was out. When she was on me, I literally was just in a daze, and I was in and out. I remember everyone saying to me like, don't go to sleep, because obviously I didn't know that I had been bleeding so much. Like I didn't know there was blood all over the doctors, on the floor, like so much so that they thought I'd need a blood transfusion. Luckily I didn't. But yeah, like it was traumatic. It was so hard. And after you've given birth, the first thing you want to hear is a cry, and I can't remember, I don't think she cried straight away when she was on me, once they took her out, and then they had to like pinch her foot or something, and then she cried, and then she was only on me for like a matter of seconds. I remember like just looking over to her dad and looking over to her mum and his mum, and just soaking it all in and trying to stay awake. And then she was taken and they done all the checks on her and she was fine, and then she cried, and then they obviously injected me in my thigh to help with the afterbirth, and that obviously meant more blood, and so I was just dazed. And then they took about, I remember them then saying, right, so we're going to stitch you up now, and I was like, stitch me up? My mum was like, you've been torn, you've been cut, and you're bleeding a lot, okay, they just need to stitch you up and it will be fine. And I couldn't feel anything because I was still numb from the epidural, so they stitched me up and that was it. Once I was all stitched up, they were happy with me to go over to the ward. I wasn't on the normal ward, I was on the high dependency ward first, because I lost so much blood and they still had to monitor me for like infection and things like that. But baby was fine, so it was just me really. And one thing I have to mention is, I remember at one point when I'd failed with the forceps, that all these different doctors came in, and I think that was at the point where I was losing a lot of blood, because obviously I ripped with the forceps, and then they had to cut me, and then I bled more and ripped more with this big old head. So yeah, like it was traumatic when they were rushed in. There was so many, like probably more than 10 people in that room, and I was just like, what is going on? But all I could focus on was pushing, and that was all I was focused on. But yeah, that was it. I was literally in active labour for about 32 hours, I'd say. Having the other contractions from Friday, but in active labour for 32 hours. I didn't have to have an induction, but I wasn't ended up in hospital anyway. But one thing I do have to say is I literally had to throw away my birthing plan. What noises are you making? Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? I literally had to, throw away my birthing plan. It was useless. it was actually useless. So I mean, everyone's different, aren't they? And that's definitely something. No two pregnancies are the same. Like, that's one thing I can hand on heart say. Nothing is as you expect if you're a first time mum. Even if you're a second or third time mum, it's never as you expect it to be. There's always something, whether it's better than you expected or more traumatic than you expected. It's not ever to plan. And no two are the same. No two are the same. And so I don't know if in future, just my opinion, if I would do a birthing plan. I mean, I'll have like the ideal things that I wouldn't want. For example, unless it's an emergency, wouldn't want a C-section. Unless it's an emergency, I don't know if I still wouldn't want an epidural. I mean, it has given me some sort of back pain since then, but it's not to the point where I can't bear it. But I mean, I'll give you an update soon in my 3 months postpartum. What else? Yeah, that's it really. It was eventful to say the least, but all worth it in the end. She's amazing, she's healthy, I'm fine and healthy. It did take me a long time to recover. A lot of doctors have said I might as well have had a C-section, but obviously it's the first pregnancy and labour, and I didn't want to go for a C-section first time, and the doctors didn't want that for me either. So yeah, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed my labour and delivery story. If you'd like to keep up with all the videos that I have coming for you, make sure you subscribe. Please like this video and comment below if there's anything you'd like to see in terms of pregnancy, labour, postpartum, or anything else to do with lifestyle and being a mum. See you soon.